Hey friends, so happy you're back, or welcome if you're new here. Today I'm planning February in my bullet journal and I'm taking you along with me. This month's theme is croissants and pink patches with heart patterns, very on brand for Valentine's Day. I honestly don't even know how I came up with the croissant idea. I probably just had some intense cravings again and this is what happened. But I also really want to get better at drawing food, so it kind of worked out perfectly. Oh, and in case you don't know me yet, my name is Senta and I'm the artist behind my small business called Senti Designs. I run an online art shop where I sell my work on things like stickers, glasses, bookmarks, art prints and more. And besides that, I'm just really passionate about journaling. I usually try to make a bullet journal video every month, so feel free to check those out if you're looking for inspiration for your next spread or if you just want to plan along with me. If you've watched my bullet journal videos before, you might notice that a few things feel a bit different this time. During the quiet time around New Year's, I really thought about where I want to take my bullet journal and what I feel like has been missing lately and what I want to include more from now on. My spreads are usually very work-focused. I use my journal a lot as a support system for my business. I plan my to-dos, appointments, shop updates, new products and all that stuff. And that's definitely something I want to keep doing. But over the years, I kind of lost the diary aspect of journaling. I want to use my bullet journal more for reflecting and writing again, for collecting photos, writing down memories, emptying my head and turning thoughts into words. That's actually what I loved so much about bullet journaling in the beginning, that it's this mix of a diary and a planner and that you can design everything exactly the way you want. So in my February setup, you'll find a few new layouts because of that. I really hope you can take some inspiration from them for your own journal, or maybe you've been doing this all along already. But of course, the cover page stays the same. That's always the page I put the most effort into because it really sets the mood for the month. And when the cover page is detailed and eye-catching, I'm just way more excited to actually use my journal. The main feature on the cover page, of course, is a croissant right in the middle. And underneath I added a little quote, "You had me at croissant." Come on, tell me you wouldn't give in to pretty much anything if someone bribed you with a croissant. On the left side, I started coloring in squares with these pink, purple and brown tones. I'll be adding a pattern on top so the patches really pop. I just love this color palette so much. I didn't want everything to be super pink and cutesy. I'm honestly not a huge Valentine's Day fan, but the mix of pastel pinks with the brown just works so well. I'm always so happy when a color palette actually comes together in the end, because honestly, that's the hardest part for me when I'm setting up a new spread. Once the patches were colored, I used darker colors to draw stitches along the edges so they actually look like little fabric patches. Then I added either a checkered pattern or little hearts on top. I struggled a bit at the beginning while coloring in the croissant, and honestly it's not perfect. I probably ended up using colors that were a little too dark in the end. But let me walk you through my thought process and how I approached it. First, I filled in the entire croissant with the lightest brown I had, basically as the base. Next, I took the next darker brown and colored everything again, leaving a few spots at the top where the light hits. I worked with small, sketchy strokes instead of perfect lines, so it looks a bit messy and uneven. That actually makes it feel more natural in the end. For step 3, I went in with an even darker brown, leaving even more of the lighter areas visible underneath. The rule here is simple: the darker the color, the less you fill in. Finally, with the darkest brown, I just went around the edges and added extra shadow where the croissant curves away from the light. I also added a few tiny dots to give it that flaky, crunchy look. At first, the croissant looked a little too brown and dark for my liking, so I grabbed a yellowish brown and added some spots. That made it look a bit more bothery. By the end, I was pretty happy with it, even though I still think it's a little dark. But there are a few more croissants in the layouts, so I got to practice even more. After that, I colored in the headings, added a shadow behind the letters, and used a white gel pen for highlights. I also decorated the page with some stars, and honestly, I love how it turned out. The next double page spread is a mix of planning and reflecting. On the left, I'm keeping track of what I read, listened to, watched and learned in February. I made 4 boxes for that and wrote the headings in the same font as the cover page. And at the bottom, there's another delicious croissant. And this one actually turned out a lot better than the first one. On the right side, I have my monthly planning page. There's a box for each week where I can write my weekly goals and tasks. You might have noticed that this time there's no calendar spread. I tend to skip it in the winter because I just don't have that many appointments and the calendar feels kind of pointless. I've also been wondering if I even need a calendar in my bullet journal anymore, since most of my appointments are already on my phone and that's usually where I check if I need an overview. But sometimes it's still nice to see everything at a glance in your journal. Maybe I'll bring the calendar back in March. I still need to think about it a little more. And now we're officially entering my new bullet journal reflector diary era. On this double page spread, I'm writing down questions that I want to answer throughout February or after the month ends. Some of the questions are just little reminders to capture special moments or impressions, and some are more about self-reflection and getting to know yourself better. I'll write the questions out here for you in English so you can read them along because I wrote them in German in my journal. I'm so curious to see how I'll feel when I actually start filling this page in. I'm really excited to write more and reflect, but I honestly don't know if the thoughts will actually come or if I'll just stare at the blank page and feel blocked. I guess the only way to find out is just to try. I'd love for you to drop a comment and let me know, have you tried spreads like this before? And are you more of a diary journal type or a planner journal type? And now we've reached the last double page spread. On the left side, I want to leave space for beautiful memories. I'm not sure yet if I'll stick in photos. There's not that much space, especially with all the squares and the huge croissant in the middle, but hey, that had to happen. Or if I'll just write down small and big moments. I really love pages like this, especially because years later, when you flip back through your journal, you get to relive all those memories just because you wrote them down. I've kind of neglected this lately, and I really want to bring it back into my journal. On the right side, the heading says soft mornings and sweet intentions. I've noticed that so many people have a morning routine, or at least think about what their ideal morning could look like. For me, it's usually just get up and leave the house 30 minutes later because I don't like being late. But honestly, that's not really a nice way to start the day. It feels rushed. So here I want to write down a few things to try out for a calmer, nicer morning. They can be super small things. For example, I'm thinking of trying to think of 3 nice things before I even open my eyes. Things happening that day that I'm looking forward to. I've done this sometimes and it really gives a completely different feeling when you wake up. And then I want to make sure I spend at least 5 minutes cuddling my dog before leaving the house because, well, he just deserves it. I'm still coming up with a few more points and I'll probably share them on my Instagram account, so maybe check it out there if you're curious. I also decorated the page a little with some washi tape, and just like that, we're at the end. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being here and watching this video all the way through. Leave a croissant emoji in the comments so I know you made it this far. Now we'll do a flip through of the whole setup so you can see all the details again. I hope you got some ideas for your own journal, and maybe I'll see you in the March Plan With Me video. That would make me so happy. Take care of yourself and I'll see you next time. Bye!